So one of the questions that, again, this is part three. Excuse me, I'm so thirsty, but I'm ghetto, but ghetto bougie, but one of I was talking about the Advice Show and Jesse Lee Powell. They did a Skype thing. The Advice Show posted it. How I came across it was in my recommendations because I'm subscribed to the Advice Show. Been watching him for years. Um, and I gave my opinions and all that of both parties in video one for this one. Um, but and one of the things that I was saying talking about was how I felt like the Advice Show is very intelligent. He did dodge some of the questions, but I can understand how that can happen. And one of the questions, and another thing was that he took offense. The Advice Show took offense to some of these questions. And one of the questions that he took offense to, and I don't think it was any need to take offense to it. I think he was what Jesse was the reason Jesse was asking is because he wanted to prove a bigger point, that it's about good and evil, and it's about, and I think Jesse is a real devout Christian, and so he's like a stickler for the word, and that's all he was saying. He wasn't trying to say that you didn't know how to conduct your family or, trying to berate you or anything like, well, the Advice Show or anything like that. What he asked him was, are you something about his marriage? Then he asked the Advice Show, are you, as a man, are you the head of the household? But let me just rewind back. The first question he asked him is, do you feel that you're a man? And the Advice Show got offended. He was just like, what you mean? Um, it was like, of course I'm a man. That's a stupid question, pretty much. Rhetorical question, whatever. Don't take my word for it. Watch it. That's not exactly how he said it. That's just my quick interpretation of it. But the Advice Show was just like, what you mean I'm a man? You can clearly see I'm a man. What's up with that? And yeah, he got offended by that. But the reason that he was asking that was like, the things that represent manhood to him, because then, to him, do you consider yourself a man based on that, was basically what he was asking him. And the Advice Show was just like, you clearly see I'm a man. I think he got offended by that. And then but he was asking that to make a point and not to belittle. He's trying to find out, put out his value systems and find out where you fall on the line of his value systems. It doesn't mean that you're right or wrong. And then Jesse went on to ask him, well, as a man, are you the head of the household? And then the Advice Show was saying, well, me and my wife, we do things together, you know? So basically, the Advice Show was just saying we do things shoulder to shoulder. The way that the Advice Show operates is that, it's his household, not as a show, but as, his personal household. But basically, what he was saying is that me and my wife, we make our decisions together. And what Jesse was trying to say was, what he was getting at, Jesse was getting at, was that um, and I guess the Advice Show may have took it initially as, oh, are you trying to say I don't handle my household or whatever? But I think what Jesse was trying to get at, was that in the Bible the man is supposed to be the head of the household, and if he's not the head of the household and running things, then he can't be a man of God. Which if you're old fashioned and in the Bible, that's what it says. You know what I'm saying? But I think that the Advice Show, I don't think he's any less of a man, and he wasn't trying to say that he was less of a man, but I don't think that he's any less of a person or worse of a person. I think he's a great guy. I think that he takes care of his family, loves his wife, and I think that they make decisions together, and that's how the Martin family, works, because both parties work, so both contribute to the family financially, emotionally, and whatever other way that families contribute to each other. Both parties contribute that way, and so the Advice Show wasn't gonna be like, it's a partnership, you know, and so that's all that was happening there. Um, then um, and I took notes as I went along because I wanted to make sure that some things I really did. Then he asked him he, Jesse made this thing where he was saying, well, there's no such thing as racism, and And Devasha was like, "Well, what you mean? There's no racism? Haven't you seen all the stuff?" But what Jesse was really saying, he's taking the little pieces and making the big picture. The big picture that he was saying, and I agree with. There is racism. I believe there is racism, but I believe that really, when you boil it all down and simmer it down, like I got the crock pot going, when you simmer it down to the bare essence of it, all it is love and hate. Without the race, it's just another. It's a means of creating hate. That's all he was saying. Just like I was watching something the other day about emotions. There's only really two emotions. There's love and fear, because all of the other emotions, negative emotions, stem out of fear. And I get it. So that's what that was all about. I get Jesse. I might start watching him too, just to pick up. At first, I was thinking I can't watch him because he's too foggety, whatever, foggety, fudgety, whatever, kind of stuffed in. But I am, because I agree with the bigger picture and things. And so what Jesse asked the Advice Show was, do you feel that Farrakhan was evil for saying whites are blue eyed? And this was after he blue eyed devils, but this was after he made statements that about something about, do you support Farrakhan or whatever? Do you believe he's evil? Do you believe Farrakhan is evil? And the Advice Show was just like, I can't say that. I would say no, because he does all this, that, and the other for the community. Blase, blase. Then, well, do you think it was evil if Farrakhan called people blue-eyed devil? And then that's where the white people do blue-eyed devil. That's where the Advice Show just kind of just didn't answer the question, and he tried. He was, I don't know if he realized he was doing it, but what he said was like, I can't speak on that. I'm not Louis Farrakhan. You have to ask him for himself. You have to look at the video to see that. And I know the Advice Show actually watches or listens to people that comment. So um, if I see that he has some feedback, I might have to like put the what you call it, the stopping points of wherever I'm talking about, so you can watch it for yourself, because I'm paraphrasing and he may not agree with the way that I paraphrase things. So moving right along, so he just dodged that all the way around, and then Jesse said something I didn't agree with. He was just like, "Well, I invited Farrakhan on the show, but he was a coward. He won't come on. Come on, Jesse. I mean, that man got stuff to do. He is not thinking about you and your show. I mean, it don't matter that you was on Fox News and all that. And this goes for everybody. As important as we like to think we are, we're not that important. People got other stuff to do. Louis Farrakhan, outside of being Louis Farrakhan, and I don't know nothing about the man. He has family. He probably have kids. He got friends. He got to do what he got to do to make his money. He got work to do. And I'm sure that you are not the only Jesse. You are not the only one that invited him. You know what I'm saying? And I think the Advice Show was very gracious in accepting the invitation, and I really admire the Advice Show for that, because he keeps lines of communication open in the black community. I mean, he reached out to me, and I'm nobody just because I made a stupid comment on his page, and I was just like, oh, what do I do? But it's just, and my initial response was I don't Skype, because I didn't know, don't didn't know where that person was coming from, and then also, his stuff is all polished, and, but he's real down to earth. I don't think that it would be nothing like that. And then I was like, maybe he got offended by it and he'll badger me. And as y'all know, I'm not a good fighter. I'm not a good fighter, and I'll be damaged for days. So I was just like, no. And then plus, I don't Skype too, because you don't know. That's a video that's shared, and he could take it and put whatever spin on it, and this is and just make me look like a complete idiot and talk over me, And I just, I don't do that. And after watching this, I'm glad that I didn't, because it's just human nature that you want to be heard. Well, not my nature, because I can stop and listen to whatever you got to say. But the kind of person I am, because I do that, I will never get a word in edgewise. He'll ask me something, and if he don't like it, he'll just keep talking over me in my response. And it's not because that would be that's just, if you watch the video, you saw a little bit of that going on, and not necessarily just from him or just from the other party, but it happens, and I can't, I don't want to, I have enough going on in my life. I don't need to be badgered. But if you want to ask me some questions, like give me a list of questions to answer, or tell me some things, like, if you want to put it in your comments and write a note or do a video about people that do stuff like that. And I don't know if you want to speak to me by video. That way I can take in what you got to say and then I can respond and you can take in what I got to say because I don't do this talking over each other. Mm-mm. I cannot. I will not do that. And then a lot of times there comes a point where power play, and because people think that somebody said something sideways, and but I come out of the spirit of love, and for some reason I think that my comment that was made, I think he understood that because if he didn't, I don't think he would have approached me, or 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 maybe he is like a lot of guys these days. Sorry to say, I bitches, but I don't think he is. But but where they get butt hurt and then they're ready to just take you out and take you down, and I'm like, if that's the case, I'm not worth the trouble. But I don't think he was coming from that at all. I think he was being just like he is with the community in general, just loving, kind, trying to leave lines of communication open amongst Black people so people can get an understanding. So thumbs up on that. And then Jesse mentioned something he said. I never heard or seen this because I don't watch politics and stuff like that. But he said that Louis Farrakhan said something about Black men to stalk and kill those that kill us. And that scares me a little bit because, again, like what Jesse was saying, going back to down to hate, that goes beyond racism. That's hate. It is based on racism. Racism is being used as a catalyst to report that hate, and that's pure. To me, that's pure evil. I can't mess with it at all. Mm-mm. And then this is another question that um, the Advice Show chose not to answer, and to me, it was very obvious and ludicrous. The answer that he kept giving was, "Well, I'm not Farrakhan. You have to ask Farrakhan. I'm not." Now, come on, Advice Show. He asked you your opinion if you thought that was evil or not. That has nothing. He didn't ask Farrakhan if he thought he was evil. He asked you if Farrakhan thought he was evil. But on the same note, you're saying you can't answer that because you didn't make sense on that. I gotta be real with you. On the same note, you're saying you can't answer that because you're not Farrakhan, but he's asking you if you thought that was evil. But on the same note, then you can call this man a coon. But you're not him. How you gonna call him a coon? It's the same thing. Come on, bro, for real. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Love your show, but I'm just being real with it. That's just sisterly agape. Just here. But and so he was brushing off all of the questions. The Vasha was brushing off all the questions regarding Farrakhan. He says he's not, and like he can't speak for him because he's not Farrakhan. He's not asking you to speak for him. He's asking you for your opinion on these actions. Are they evil or not? Simple. Come on now. And this is a prime example case where when you could say if you didn't hear the black stock thing, I didn't hear that either. Black people just stalk. No, I didn't hear that. You could say, well, I didn't hear that comment come from him, so I don't want to comment on that because I have to make sure that I heard that that's what he said, and then I can only comment on that. And maybe you didn't hear how that Farrakhan said that white people are blue-eyed devils. So maybe you feel you can't comment on that too. But I know I definitely heard it. It might have been what's his name? God, Malcolm X. But I'm sure Farrakhan said it too under X, right? So and I know you heard that. So I can't, that one at least you could comment. Do you feel like if that was evil or not? Okay, so again, he and the Advice Show kept saying, "Oh, that's about the Advice Show." He mentioned, asked him about being a man. The Advice Show was at Jesse was asked, and he kept saying in response to Jesse asking him, do you feel like you're a real man or whatever? The Advice Show was saying that's a rhetorical. No, Jesse asked him, "Do you feel like you're a man?" Advice Show was just like, "That's a rhetorical question. That's a rhetorical question." He was, what is, it depends on your definition of a man. He was asking you, were you a man according to you? Are you a man according to you? That's what matters. Are you according to you? And then if so, what is your definition of a man? You know, and the Vasho seemed really offended by that. He's not questioning your manhood. Maybe you got offended by it because you felt like you knew where it was going. But you're intelligent. You're an intelligent brother. So you're going to, you can answer that question. In my opinion, yeah, yeah, of course I'm a man. You know, Basically speaking, yeah, I'm a man. What makes up a man? Whatever you said, a man is a person that stands on his principles. That's a good definition. Stands on his principles and take care of his family. I get that. And but you seemed really offended by it, and then he pushed the button And Jesse said, and these are things I can understand. Oh, gotta go to the next one.